Hey, hope everyone's doing well in your quarantine state. Since I'm noticing a lot of people taking up the task and concept of DJing for other people in their own quarantine state, I figured this is a good time to make a video documenting things I've learned, tips and tricks about DJing. For people who are not familiar with me, I've been DJing for about 15 years, over 15 years, all over Los Angeles, Las Vegas. I've won several DJ awards, opened for a few big acts in concert, and I have not done it with a promoter or a agent or a manager or anything like that. Just didn't work like that for me. So I kind of did it more so in a, I guess you could say, kind of a hustler's approach, just a word of mouth, just grinding gigs and, building it through there. If you can, first step, I guess, if you can get an agent or manager, always go that way. It's definitely a much easier route, a better route, and lets you get to your goals, quicker. Somebody helping you out, and it's worth paying them a certain percentage to do that. So as for the concept of it alone, I'd say first thing to do is practice. Get your own rig at home. It doesn't have to be too fancy. When I first started DJing, I got the cheapest CD player thing I could find, and just to concentrate on the basics. Don't worry about effects and stuff like that. Practice. Know your material. Knowing your material is imperative. That's key to everything. Your music selection, how you program it, is more important than anything. Period. Know exactly how to label your music, where to find everything. Find certain websites or blogs or outlets to download the music you like. As for genre, I personally am more of an open format DJ, which can work for you or against you. I feel sometimes it can make you a jack of all trades, a master of none. Um, but also it obviously can, if you do it right, it'll make you a weapon. And I like to view music kind of as ammunition and the DJ as a weapon, to just, dominate dance floors or whatever. So I would say if you want to focus on one genre, cool, go for that genre, master it. If you want to be an open format DJ, learn how to blend genres together seamlessly, but also, throwing in curveballs or, just know how to have certain different styles of mixing. I kind of read a crowd and try to figure out how I want to mix a set doing that. Do I want to do more of like kind of a smooth, morphed kind of house music style mixing set? Do I want to do more of an erratic DJ style set, scratching and just kind of shocking the crowd? The more you know in terms of mixing, the more, I guess, muscle you build in that sense, the easier it is to adapt to different crowds, and therefore the easier it is to be able to pretty much rock any crowd. I would say if you are an open format DJ, try to master at least one genre, or really master one genre. Get very good at it to where you can always go to that genre and you could pretty much kill anybody else in that genre. Other things, mixing style. I don't use programs that mix for you. I don't really like that. I think that DJing, it's obviously you're playing other people's music. It's not as organic of a instrument or of a art or musicianship as picking up an instrument or designing your own songs from scratch. Well, it could be if you're able to make it an art form. DJs like DJ AM were very good at that. Kind of just using other people's music or other just created music and forming it and honing it in a sense that sounds like an art. Like you're using every song you're using is not just a song in that sense. It's kind of like sound, and you're just building an entire vibe with all these different songs. So learn how to mix well, unless you use the program. I don't like programs. The reason I don't like programs, I feel like mixing is an art form. It's your personality. I have people come and hear me at the clubs who will say, I can just hear by the way you're scratching or the way you're mixing, I can tell it's you. I feel it's your personality. I feel like even screwing up is good because it's like watching a band. I kind of grew up watching a lot of punk rock bands, and I really enjoyed their energy and their sense of urgency. And sometimes the show would get screwed up because a fan would come on stage or they would screw up and they would have to start all over again. And a real performer is somebody who can pretty much have a show go very wrong or deal with a disaster and come out of it really quickly and well, and just like nothing happened, or even use it to their advantage. And mixing, I feel like, is part of that. So I enjoy mixing. Simple tips: if you are mixing without a computer, obviously most programs have BPM counters, or you can match BPMs in your computer, but I just kind of go off ear. But some tips that I'm surprised a lot of people don't know is CDJs. When you're using a CD player, every 0.80 is a BPM, as long as you're within the range of 90 to about like 130 or 135 BPM. Other things, getting gigs. Getting gigs is the most important thing. Unfortunately, your talents only take you so far. So getting gigs is the way to do that is just find your avenue where you want to play, what scene, go there, talk to people, talk to the DJs, get the contact info of promoters, managers, get a good demo, send that to them. Try to have as much social media clout as you can. Unfortunately, that's the case. Another thing, use your influences in music, the genres that you love, to give yourself a certain edge. I don't know if I could word this correctly, but it's kind of just a feeling, how I feel when I DJ. So like, let's say if you're DJing a hip hop set, or even if you're DJing another kind of set, but you come from a hip hop background or you come from a rock background, try to use the edge that you get from that, the vibe, to just push, to just emanate from your set. So even if you're playing like a Rihanna pop song, there's a way you could drop mix, or there's just a way you could program it in to where it feels extra, like it feels harder, it could feel dirtier. I mean, if you don't want to feel, or even if you're playing pop and you want to be uplifting, just a sense of urgency is the best way I could kind of describe it. I notice a lot of DJs just play very smooth blended sets, which is great, and sometimes often you actually need that, and everybody should know how to do that. But I feel like sometimes there's a certain way you can kind of own a crowd and take control of a crowd, and to do that truly you have to really develop your own skill set. And I think that comes from the music you select, that comes from your personality coming through the music songs you play. Even though you're playing a pre-recorded, two people could play the same set, and the way they mix it, and even the different night they play, just energy works in very mysterious ways. Don't be afraid to take chances, but also know when it's smart to play it safe. I like to use the concept of being under a crowd as opposed to being over them. A lot of times I'll watch DJs and they'll be on top of a crowd. They'll be going harder than a crowd. My rule of thumb is to never do that. I want to be under the crowd. I want to be holding them as if you're literally hoisting them up. You've got the entire dance floor in your hands, so you could pretty much take them wherever you want to. And in order to do that, you have to earn their trust, and you have to build them up. And once you build them up and they trust you, then it's on. Learn how to do that. Obviously you need experience in nightclub. You can't do that from your bedroom, but you could develop the confidence you need in your bedroom to take the clubs. And it's cliche to say, but watching the crowd, obviously imperative. See what the crowd is doing, try to be a step ahead of them as opposed to a step behind them. Doesn't always work. Sometimes you might move on from a certain thing that's working because you anticipate that they're not going to like it anymore. Sometimes you feel like you might have moved on too quick. Sometimes you're right ahead of the curve and you're keeping them in your cycle. Next step, unfortunately, again, is something that has nothing to do with your talent. It's being pretty savvy at social media. It doesn't mean you have to be a social media master, or I feel like a lot of DJs who are social media, who have huge followings, they're not always getting the most gigs. So it's not everything, but it's good to know how to market yourself. I've been my own marketer, my own manager, agent, so you kind of have to develop yourself in different ways. Know how to promote yourself, and don't be shy in promoting yourself, because if you don't, nobody will. If you have a cool gig, if you have a cool moment, you take videos, use that shit, because that goes a very, very long way. Also, in my opinion, think of a cool name. A lot of DJs use their real names. I think that's fine. I mean, cool. But sometimes I kind of think it's fun to hide behind maybe a stage name, a persona. It doesn't hurt to have a certain character element to you that you can kind of go into and just get away from your real self from. You know what I mean? It helps for me psychologically, and it could work for you too. Again, practice. If you know of anybody who has clubs, who have certain nights that you can go and just practice, even and as a DJ. I believe it might be taboo to say this, but even for no money, not to crowds, because I don't think you want to undercut yourself, but just to go in and play. If you have that access, does not hurt, because there's a much different feeling when you hear music going through a sound system. Even if there's one person in there, a bartender or an owner or even nobody, it's much more intimidating. It's good to just get that out of your system, kind of hear it. Next step, don't take yourself too seriously. You're just DJ. At the same time, take the craft very seriously, because it is a craft, and if you do it right, it can be art. I've said before, it's not brain surgery, but it can be poetry. Conclusion, DJing is a lot, again, programming, music, knowing your music selection, understanding crowds, and a lot of DJing, and I don't know if a lot of DJs will say this, but it's innate. A lot of people just have it, or some people don't have it. If you don't have it, you have to work extra hard. If you have it, you understand the concept of energy, you understand how to make people go crazy, you understand how to take them to that next level, but you also understand when to bring them down or when to keep them at a certain pace. It's all about dance floor management. Watching and practicing that as much as you can is very imperative. As for equipment, I would say, again, don't spend too much money. Get a simple controller with your whatever your favorite DJ software is. And even if you do use a program to mix, I think you should learn how to mix manually. DJing, the beauty of it, what I liked about it is that it made sense to me from the beginning. No matter what I'd heard from other people, when I just got with the DJ booth, I got in front of music, and I'm somebody who's nervous to talk in front of people. I'm nervous to even record videos. I'm nervous to, make public speeches, but when I get into a DJ booth and I get with that equipment, it makes sense to me. It's home. I can feel like I can express myself, and if you feel that, then you're a shoo-in. Then it's you. So anyways, I hope some of this is helpful. Maybe I'll do more of these. My name is Morningstar. I will be doing a live set, recording it pretty soon for Instagram and Facebook if they don't take it down for copyright violation. You can check them at Morningstar DJ. I hope everybody's well.